By the time this camp is over, I'll have a sprained neck. No, the reason I'll have a sprained neck is I have to sit like this. No, everybody is concentrating on that side. So I'm just making a funny remark. Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatye Namaha. Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Mantra jap mama drida viswasa. Panchama bhajana sobeda prakasa. Mantra japa mama drida viswasa. So 3 words to understand in this particular step, which has been revealed even by the Vedas as a very sure method to self-actualization or realization. Mantra japa mama drida viswasa. What is a mantra? There are various definitions of a mantra. Mantra means a formula. A formula can be called a mantra. The usual example that I take is a plus b whole square. That is how much I know mathematics, okay? Don't expand it beyond that. A plus b whole square. So what is a plus b whole square? A square plus b square plus 2ab. Right? Now you substitute a and b with various denominations, you get the results. It's as simple as that. Similarly, there are these various formulas that can be applied in day-to-day life, which are given in the Vedic portion, the first portion of Vedas known as the mantra portion of Vedas. But here, probably they are not trying to tell that it is a formula, but there is another meaning for the word mantra. Mananat trayate iti mantraha. Mananat. By contemplating on the intent or the lakshartha, that which removes all the afflictions is called mantra. What is a lakshartha and vachyartha? I'll give you a couple of examples. Literal meaning and figurative meaning. Literal meaning is vachyartha. Lakshartha is figurative. For example, somebody looks at us and says, "Oh, you look like a wise man." So the way it is said, it can mean 2 different worlds apart. Isn't it? You look like a wise man. Make the right decisions. It means you're really looking balanced. I'm sure you'll make a right decision. Whereas the same thing is said in a different tone. Oh, you look like a wise man. What does it mean? The sentence means something else, but it points to something else altogether. That is called lakshartha. The lakshya is different. The vachyartha is stating something else altogether. Another day-to-day practical life example. So this person was lost. So as he was driving, he saw this person on the sidewalk. So he stopped by, rolled his window down, called out for him and says, "Does this road go to Austin?" So the puzzled man looked at him and said, I have been walking on this road for the past 25 years. This road has not gone anywhere. It has been here only. One was asking figuratively, the other one was answering literally. Now you understand the difference between Vachyartha and Lakshyartha? Figurative. And Vachyartha is that the road has always remained here. Lakshyartha is that the road is here, but does it lead towards Austin? Okay. So similarly, mantra. Here, the deeper understanding for the word mantra is that by repeating which, understanding the lakshyartha of it and contemplating on which, trayate removes all blocks and afflictions, is called mantra. The mantra has got various parts to it. It is usually sanctified by adding the sacred syllable Om. Om is that sacred syllable which sanctifies. It not just sanctifies, but it energizes the entire mantra to a different realm. So there is always, it starts with Om. There are mantras of various deities, various gods. Each mantra is a revelation. When these great masters were in their meditative equipoise, there were certain mantras that were revealed unto them in their meditation. And these revelations have very powerful, potent syllables called Bijakshara. A very loose translation that I have seen in many places, they translate Bijakshara as a seed syllable. It doesn't have the same punch. Bija is the root of all cosmic energy packed into one syllable. Like for Lord Ganesha, it is Gam, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. So that Gam is the Bijakshara. When you talk about Devi, so you might have heard about Om, Aim, Hreem, Kleem. So all these are the Bijaksharas. In fact, the entire word Rama, Ram, that word, that syllable itself is a Bijakshara. So these mantras have Bijaksharas. So what should this mantra be used for? How should it be used for? How should it be used? The mantra, they say, has to be enlivened by the Guru to be given to the Sishya. The Guru pours his own Sankalpa Shakti into that mantra and gives it to the Sishya, energizing it. See, it is water. Water in a glass, you take a spoon and give, it doesn't become tirtha. But the same water, when poured on the Lord and taken as charanamrita, now it has a different sanctity to it. Similarly is the sanctity to the mantra that which is acquired when comes through the Guru. Now what is the purpose of this mantra? The purpose of this mantra is that first purpose is that our mind is like a porcupine in a defense mode. Have you seen a porcupine in a defense mode? It curls itself up into a ball of thorns. That's how porcupines are. Why is our mind like that? It is nothing to do with defense mechanism of mind. It is just that the mind is running haywire in that many directions as many pointed by the porcupine spikes. It meaning our mind is multi-pointed constantly. Why? Because we have several gates of exposure for that mind to run in. There are 5 organs of action, 5 organs of perception, and the various permutations and combinations with the things that it interacts with the world outside. It has multiple themes running. So at any given point of time, to bring that mind to one single focal point is the greatest difficulty at this moment. So what does mantra do? It brings the mind which is multifocused to one focal point. The second purpose of mantra is that a mantra repeated, because it has the bijaksharas, is energized by Om, just by repeating the mantra, even mechanically, without any intention, without purity of intention, without any intensity in that mantra, intensity from our side, just by mechanical repetition, it energizes and purifies the individual. Ratnakara was the name of sage Valmiki in his earlier part of his life. And he was known to be a wayside robber, a dacoit. Thanks to Narada, he changes his way of life. And when he changes his way of life, he is so rustic. Ratnakara was so rustic that even to pronounce Rama was difficult for him. All that he knew was Mara. Mara, to kill. They say, okay, you can say Mara. Now, let us make a little change in that Mara. Instead of saying Mara, you say Mara. What does Mara mean? Dead in Hindi. Okay. Repeat that Mara. See, over a period of time, when you say it 10, 20, 30 times, does it really matter if you say Rama or Mara? Try chanting it. Mara, 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 Mara. It seems like he's chanting Rama, Rama, Rama. Does he have purity of intention? Does he have purity? Nothing. Narada said, repeat Mara, and he started repeating it. And over a period of time, Bhagavan Rama had given him his darshans. Mechanical chanting. There are many people say, Swamiji, I don't feel that intensity or that, whatever that feeling that we have when I am chanting it, I feel so mechanical. So what? Repeat it. Even mechanical repetition has its benefit. But the best part is when we understand the entire process, mechanism and the science behind as to how this japa of a mantra helps. It is an eye-opener. Before we go into that, what is not japa has also to be understood. A marathon repetition of the name of the Lord cannot be called as japa. Because people are either interested in feeling obliged and fulfilling an obligation early in the morning. Why? I have done my japa today. Or there are people who do it for the count of it. You know how many times I have done japa? I have 1.5 million times of japa done. Big deal. It is not for the count. It is not for a timed event. Like, I have 15 minutes, I have 10 malas to finish. Hence, therefore, the mantra is Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya, 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 Om Namah Shivaya. क्या बोल रहे हो? What exactly are you trying to say? See, when we used to chant Vishnu Sahasranam and other things, between me and my brother, we used to clock Purva Pitika, the main Vishnu Sahasranam, and Uttara Pitika. 7.5 minutes. Neither I understood what I said, nor my brother understood what he said, nor anybody around understood what he said. Maybe, if at all, he may have understood. Maybe. It was more of a chore to be finished. When it is a chore to be finished, then we become calm chore. So this japa is not a method wherein we try to finish off certain count, and it is not the speed that counts. What does japa mean? First, our mind is running constantly with one after the other different themes of thoughts, trains of thoughts. You have traveled in a train? Okay. And just to get the response, there are compartments. Each compartment again has different seating arrangement. Similarly, different themes of thoughts. Okay. They are compartments. A theme about children's education, a theme about the evening cooking, a theme about various themes. Within the theme there are various contents of thoughts, subtitles, and these are running at a amazing speed constantly. Have you ever gone on a giant wheel in a circus or wherever they have had the giant wheel, and you go for 10, 15, 20 rounds and then you get off? How does it feel? Zara sa jhoom lu main. It seems very spinning. Why do we get so tired in life? Even when we are not doing that amount of physical activity, it is because the amount of thoughts that run by, the amount of the speed with which it runs by, the amount of energy that it drains is amazing amount of energy. How much amount of energy are we talking about? Imagine yourself riding a bicycle. Right? You can ride a bicycle. Just to understand the effect of it. So the bicycle. And on the bicycle you are going up the hill, and there is constant wind blowing towards you. Imagine that kind of a ride non-stop for 30 minutes. Can you imagine, can you visualize how tired you will be? That much amount of energy is drained in 5 to 10 minutes of an intense thought or emotion fast running through our system. Half an hour worth intense workout is drained in 5 to 10 minutes. Now, calculate kapatataji without any hypocrisy, because you are not going to share it with anybody, it is for yourself. Now calculate, in a day, how many times do we lose ourselves to intense thought, intense emotion, I like the word intense. Why? We are constantly intense. How many times? 5 times? 10 times? 20 times? Visualize how much of energy is being drained. So what we learn is that to directly get accessibility of this thought and train of thoughts is almost impossible. Why is it that impossible? Why is it that difficult? The more you try to control, the more you try to curtail these thoughts, they seem to be running haywire. You try stopping a thought, doesn't it become like a stubborn child? The more you try stopping them, the more they start resisting and reacting. Our mind also starts behaving the same way. But instead, the rishis have said that they have observed that the mind and breathing have an amazing interconnection. They are intimately related. Whenever you are angry, how is your breathing? Who remembers Swamiji? Okay. Fine. Whenever you make somebody angry, how is their breathing? Because when somebody else is angry, you can watch the fun, right? So when somebody is angry, how is their breathing? It is pretty rapid, erratic, shallow, unrhythmic, isn't it? And whenever we are emotionally, hyper, the breathing is also very hyperventilated. So whenever somebody is really getting angry or emotionally losing, in my mind I have a caricature. Their face with a big nose and the hot air puffing, 2 little horns, and me standing in front of them with a red cloth. Like a bullfight. So whenever we have our emotions in rapid pace, we have observed that breathing is also rapid. Now at this particular moment, how is your breathing? Calm. Breathing is calm. Is it rhythmic? Is it deep? So whenever the mind is in a sattvic stage, the breathing is also very systematic. We have seen that we cannot control mind, but can we control breath? Stop breathing. Can you stop? Yes. Start breathing. Okay. Swamiji said stop breathing. We can stop breathing and when to breathe, when not to breathe. Suddenly you're driving on a highway and there is a skunk. And it gets into the car. You open the windows, let it ventilate through. But until that smell changes, you are like, you can stop your breath. You can regulate that breath. You can fastly breathe, you can slowly breathe. You can regulate that breath to different speeds. Like you have the fan regulator, you can regulate the speed of the fan. Similarly, you can regulate the speed of your breathing. Now, now what does breathing do? It brings in oxygen to the system. Why do we yawn? Whenever the brain feels that its supply, because it's processing really fast, it's processing really hard, and the supply of oxygen is not enough, it starts retiring. So it kicks in the command, grab as much oxygen around you as possible. So what are you doing? Trying to gulp down as much of oxygen as possible. Just the oxygen getting in is the energizing factor. Isn't it? So it energizes, it awakens. So if we constantly awarefully breathe, lethargy can be worked at. The brain that goes into the lack of oxygen phase wherein it feels lethargic, that can be worked at, which happens immediately after a heavy meal, after the lunch. Why? The entire system is sending the energy to the stomach so that it can grind well. So when Madhya Pradesh is active, what happens to Uttar Pradesh? And we need stimulants which can go directly, be injected into the brain and then feels awakened. Coffee, tea, madhya coffee samarpayami, tea samarpayami. Why? I'm feeling little. So the oxygen energizes. So now, the important parts. When you sit on the seat of your puja, japa, dhyana, sit straight. Now, I'm not talking about now. Immediately you start correcting and start relax. When you're sitting on the seat of your puja, japa, dhyana, have your position secured in a comfortable yet not a slouching pattern, wherein your back, head and neck are in one straight line, your shoulders are relaxed, and then your hands are interlocked and placed in your own lap. Sometimes what happens, you start with this, and because of this there is a stiffness, and that stiffness causes an unusual pattern of pain. So instead, relax. Let the shoulders be relaxed. And there is another reason. While you are trying to meditate, your hands are like this, and then suddenly you will be disturbed in your own sleep. Okay. Third thing is, never point your fingers down to the earth while sitting on the seat of meditation. If you have observed, see, if you can turn around and look at Hanumanji there, कैसे बैठे हैं? Right? His hands are not like towards the Earth. Why? Earth is a magnet. Human body is a magnet. The bigger magnet pulls the energy from the smaller magnet. And our magnetic power is smaller than the earth. So what does it do? It pulls the accumulated energy down. Subtle energy, the spiritual energy down is being pulled. So instead, lock it up. You know why they keep it like this? See, there is a circuit. And the circuit is complete when the loop is connected thoroughly. And by keeping the entire system's loop connected, there is a loop created that the energy is channelized and circled within the system. Or when you put both your hands together, locked within your own lap, that also is a complete loop in itself. So the energy doesn't dissipate. I am giving you lot of details on japa today. So don't miss out on any point. Remember them. And then put them in your lap so that the energy is not dissipated. Now, after having secured this position, then close your eyes gently. As I see even in meditation class, close your eyes. You don't need to be scared of anything. The purpose of closing the eyes is our eyes become the source of distraction when we see things around, or the light penetrating inside becomes a disturbance. Close it gently enough that the outside ambience doesn't become a distraction. So close your eyes gently. Now, focus on your breathing. Thoughts are not accessible, thoughts cannot be stopped, but breathing helps regulate the thought. The moment we observe, as an advanced seeker, even you just observe the breath becomes normal, the breath becomes deep, rhythmic. But in case it does not become deep and rhythmic, regulate it to a deep, simple inhalation and exhalation process. And if I may add, as slow as possible. Now with this what happens? The thoughts, the breathing pattern regulated to a slower speed, the thoughts also are regulated to a slower speed. So the intensity with which the thoughts are running, the speed with which they are running, that is reduced. Where are we usually? We are usually caught up in the traffic of the thoughts. We are a part of that traffic and we are caught. When you are in traffic, there is a heavy rush of traffic, it's very difficult to get out of the traffic. Now, right outside on Davenport, can you cross from this side of the street to that side of the street? Okay. 190, George Bush Turnpike. There are 4 lanes this side, 4 lanes that side. Can you cross? Why? Because of the intense speed with which the traffic is moving. Usually, where are we with respect to our traffic up here? We are on a freeway, wherein the rush of traffic is so much that we are constantly hit one after the other. Imagine yourself standing there and constantly being hit by one after the other, the emotions, thoughts and ideas going through. We are completely caught up in that. But by focusing on your breath, reducing the speed, we can pull ourselves out of that traffic and observe our own thought patterns. But instead of observing, what do? We end up identifying with the thoughts again as a natural habit. What is the kind of identification? There is a thought going, let it go. No, but we want to brand it, we want to name it, we want to identify its texture, we want to qualify it. It is a good thought, it is a bad thought, it is an unnecessary thought. All this processing is unnecessary. It is just a thought. It's a ripple. Let it be observed, let it go. See, like you are sitting in your balcony, you are watching people walking on the street. Instead of watching the people on the street, what are you also doing? You are also branding. Okay, this man looks handsome, his dress sense is good, shoes are really good, carries himself really good. You just, zoom out. There is a person walking. Observe. In mere observation, there is no vasana created. The moment we identify and we start branding it, layers and layers and layers of vasanas are being generated. Impressions are being generated. Tendencies are being confirmed. So pull yourself out of that thought train with the help of the breathing and observe. Again, intense seekers, when they even observe the thought freezes and annihilates itself. But then we are not there yet. Hope that we reach that state. So that is where there are still those trickling thoughts. Though I have observed my breath, there are still those trickling thoughts that are passing by, and because they are passing by, they can be the vulnerable cause for my agitations again, my identifications again. So what do? I do not try to fight with those thoughts. Instead, I invoke a self-disciplined, self-introduced thought into the stream so that it replaces the existing thought pattern. I introduce a self-disciplined, self-trained, self-introduced thought into the thought flow, into the mind system. Instead of trying to work with the existing thoughts, I replace it, flush it out with this new self-disciplined thought. That new introduced self-disciplined thought is called mantra. Om Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. So I have a mantra, and that mantra is being introduced. At any given point of time, the mind can entertain only one thought. Though it appears that it can handle multiple thoughts, it is just an appearance, because the rapid speed with which the thoughts are moving, it gives an appearance that it is continuous. See, if you rotate a torch, lit torch, with rapid speed in circular motion, doesn't it give the feel of a wheel of fire? Similarly, the feel of continuity of these thoughts is because of the speed with which the thoughts are running, but at any given point of time, there can be only one thought maintained. Hence, therefore, to maintain that one thought, what do? That thought, that japa, that mantra is synchronized with the breathing. So you sit straight, breathe in consciously, and while you are breathing out, you chant as a whisper, Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. Om Shri Ram Jai Jai Ram Om. And the idea is that you maintain the mantra as long as the breath lasts. Om Namah Shivaya. And then breathe in again. Om Namah Shivaya. Again breathe in. So by constant repetition, in synchronization with the breath, what does it do? It ensures that at any given point of time, there is only one thought, and that one thought is the thought that you have introduced and you have initiated. And since it is maintained in synchronization with the breath, the alertness is maximum. No other thought gets the opportunity to creep into the mind system. Are you getting the whole concept of it? Now, why should we whisper? Why should we say it a little loud so that we can hear it ourselves? Our minds, let us be very frank and truthful to ourselves, is not yet well tuned to do the japa silently, mentally. Presently, we are in a mental stage that we have to grow out of, so say it out loudly, so that it acts as an adhering thing, wherein the mind does not get out into other patterns of distraction. So chant loud. Vag rupa. I mean, say it out loud. Now, another reason is the rishis have done such an amazing job of researching into this. Every aspect of their presentation. Now, everybody say loudly, Hari Om. Okay. Now, try to say with the same loudness, Hari Om, while breathing in. Try. The voice box, the larynx, the way it is designed is that cognizable sounds are made only when the air is going out through the larynx, through the voice box. Meaning, effectively the speech is understood when the air is coming out, when we are exhaling, not inhaling. The only sound that is that can be made, which is cognizable while you are breathing in, is called snoring. In speech therapy, they do teach, for those people who have that breathing and speaking problem, they do teach trying to speak while you are breathing in. But it is not the same like the natural process. Those who have the wind trachea problems, they are taught to reverse their larynx effect, but it is strainful. But otherwise, normally, it is when we exhale that we make sound. So, all the natural process, the breathing is synchronized with the thinking and it is said out loud. So, there is the organ of perception, organ of action, the mind, all of them are integrated into one package deal. And this regulated breathing is also known as pranayama. So, with your position secured, you are doing your asana. With your breathing synchronized, you are doing pranayama. And the mantra being chanted, you are doing japa, wherein the organs of perception, action, the physical aspect, the prana and the mantra, all are synchronized into one package, not letting any scope for any organ of perception, action at any level to start entertaining any other thought. Now, thus, when we sit straight, close our eyes, focus on our breathing, regulate that breathing and start synchronizing our chanting and start repeating that over a period of time, what happens? It builds concentration, focus. That focal point that we were talking earlier, which we don't have at this moment, we have multifocal points. It is all brought back to one focal point. And That focal point is concentrated. See, when they say in chemistry lab, concentrated hydrochloric acid, concentrated nitric acid, what does it mean? They are talking about its texture, they are talking about its strength, that it is not diluted with any other contaminants. Usually water is the diluting agency. Similarly, the number of thoughts that increase, the themes that increase, dilute the energy that we have. Concentrated is to maintain it at one focal point, and the energy is built. Energy that would have been dissipated in various thought patterns, various themes, is curtailed because that thought pattern is eradicated. So what are you doing? That much of energy is conserved. Energy saved is energy generated. That much of energy is saved. First layer of energy. Second, you are consciously breathing that much more oxygen to the system. So second layer of energy. Third, the mantra, when you could say that I can repeat akadakada bugudu, akadakada bugudu, some arbitrary word. Why only a mantra? A mantra because, as I explained, it has these bijaksharas energized by Om, it has the positive energy in it. Third layer of energy. And when the system is brought back to a certain balance, all the agitations that would have been happening at various layers of mind, intellect, organs of action, organs of perception and the pranas is reduced to bare minimum. Again, energy conserved is energy generated. 4 different layers of energies that are generated. Imagine the amount of energy pooled through this japa. Thus, having repeated this japa for a count of 108 or 54 or whatever the number of amount of times that we have repeated, the energy saved is now available to be directed, to be channelized in any field of activity. Instead of doing 10 different half jobs, the rishis say, do one job at a time, and it will enable you to perform and accomplish it with satisfaction. At different layers of our body, mind and intellect, organs of perception, organs of action, the pranas and the mind and the intellect, having brought them back to an equilibrium wherein they are not agitated anymore, they are not functioning to run out. In that balance, in that amazing balance, what you are doing, the energy is conserved. So that energy which is not consumed, drained, is again pooled into the resource. Now when such japa is done, now the 5th layer. What is the 5th layer of energy? Mama dridha Bisvasa is done with such faith in the Lord. Do you know, faith is an energy builder? We have too many energy bars, right? I don't know if they really give you energy or they bar the energy from being generated. Faith is an amazing energy builder. It builds confidence, it builds willpower, it builds the strength to look forward for another moment in day. I can give various examples, but this is not to freak you out, this is not to put a scare in your heart, but just to take an example. Do you know the maximum accidents in US happen because of? Accidents don't happen because of that. When maximum deaths, I mean, happen because of driving. Drugs don't kill, guns don't kill, cars kill. And what is the most shocking thing? Of all such accident prone areas, 3 of them are in Dallas. Top 10. 3 of them are in Dallas. 2 of them right here on Preston. Why? Because it is you and me driving. I didn't say because of my driving. Because of you and me driving, I said. How conveniently they morph the whole story. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Preston and Park. Preston and 121. The other one is, I think, Beltline and Midway. Maximum accidents. So much so that almost on a daily basis, the car wrecks. And right on Preston, there are at least 20 car wreck towing machines, what do you call, shops or whatever facilities. So you can imagine how much business they're making. Now, why did I take that example? In spite of knowing the fact how accident prone the car driving is, do you stop driving cars? Okay. What is it that enables you to drive the next time you want to get out on the road? There are at least 300 to 700 people who die with at least 1 or 2 air crashes every year. Any flight could crash any moment. And there are funny people. I am scared of flying. Why? You have never assured of whether you land back or not. Hence, therefore, I drive all over US. The probability of getting killed in an air crash is 1 in a million. The probability of getting killed on a road accident is 1 in 1,000. Which one is safer? Best of the worst that we have. You have to choose. But point is, we have not stopped traveling. Why go that far? Have you ever slipped or tripped and fallen down? Obvious, many times. Have you stopped walking? I'm afraid, I'll fall again. No, we don't. In fact, there was a beautiful poetry. It said, जिंदगी की पहली सीख ऐसे कैसे भूला. जिंदगी की पहली सीख ऐसे कैसे भूला. The first thing that you learned in your life, how did you forget? And what was it? गिर कर चलना, चल कर गिरना, गिर कर भी संभलना, यह जिंदगी की पहली सीख ऐसे कैसे भूला. Zindagi ki pehli seek. I mean, like, you first few days, first that Kodak moment they call. The child was still crawling and suddenly she stands up and then there is a balance. And before you rush to get a camera and then you say, Beta khade ho ja, Munna khade ho ja, Chottu khade ho ja. And you put the camera back and then again, ding. And the first few steps, how many times do the kids fall? Do they give up? If we had given up then, would we have been walking? Imagine once. What would have been our position? Crawling all over the place. Slide, crawl all the way into the car. You know the cement machines, the big roller machines that go around supplying cement, ready-made cement. They have a little funnel kind of a thing which gushes out all the cement out into the area where they have to work. In our cars, we would have such funneling system. Why? The car comes to a stop and then there is that funnel that comes out and then we crawl out of that space. But we started with the effort to try balance and we learnt in spite of that many falls. There is never a fall which is false. Every fall is a good lesson to learn from. And like a benevolent, benign, fatherly form of God, He does not want to interfere in trying to be nitpicky and trying to teach us at every step. He says, beta, fall. It's okay to fall. But I have also given you the skills to immediately stand up. And the moment we fall, everybody does this mistake. Ask a so-called intelligently stupid, dumb question. And what is that stupid, dumb question? Why? Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to me always? See, those who don't understand this, you can at least sympathize with them, empathize with them. Those who know that asking that question why has no answer and still keep wasting their time, whiling away their time by asking why. So one Mahatma said an amazing, Swamiji, why did this happen to me? Drop the why, you have a fact staring into your face. Remove the why from there. What does the sentence remain? This happened to me. Okay? Understand it and move forward. Now what if there are atrocities, somebody, let us not globalize this. This is personal, at your personal level to be applied. How do I explain this to kids? Think about kids later. First apply it in your own lives. If you see that conviction to be applied in your own life, then you can communicate it to your kids. You don't even need to communicate. They'll see it in your actions. And say, comes any kind of thing, I know one place to go, my mother. Why? She doesn't get shaken up that easily. She has that firmness. And what is that firmness? It is built because of the faith. Now what is a faith? The Lord gives us various experiences, or we go through the various experiences because He wants us to be strengthened through those experiences. It is that strength that He wants to give us. And He will provide tough situations. Those of them who join the Marine Corps, Navy SEALs and such, armed forces, those 7 months or 10 months that they have to go for training. How is the training? Wake up any time. If you feel like exercising, please do. Is that what it is? No. Rain or shine, 4 o'clock, wake up. Wake up. Oh, I know whole life I have not. Get up. I didn't feel like getting up. Who asked you? Get up. Run for 10 miles. Come back. Eat. It is not tasty. Eat first, taste later. You are eating to live. You are not living to eat. Eat. Now, why is that discipline given? The discipline is again and again insisted so that when they come out, they are so strong that they can face anything in life. And Bhagavan, through these various experiences in our life, is taking us through the boot camp so that we can perfect ourselves. See, when the iron ore has to be taken out, it has to go through such a heat, intense moment. Then the ore comes out. Then the ore has to be shaped, beaten up, and then thinned out at the edge so that it can be sharpened. It goes through such rough beating to get to that sharp edge. Oh, but I am delicate. I know we can dedicate even that delicateness. It is not meaning that you become like an animal or you become insensitive, but you become sensible. Why am I going through these tough times? Only one reason. God wants me to perfect myself going through this. Stop trying to resist, stop trying to run away. Lord, thank you for getting me through this. Now that you have put me here, give me the strength as well. I don't know why you have put me in here, but whatever it is, give me the strength to go through this now. And that faith that Bhagavan is not doing injustice with me. That is what most of us say, why this happened to me? I have been doing so much of puja, so much of vrata, so much of this. Why did this happen to me? I don't even hurt the smallest animal. When we start portraying ourselves at that moment, we are like, Prahlada, Nachiketa, Dhruva, all of them put together, I am the one incarnate. How can this injustice happen to me? Thopda dekh aine mein. Look at yourself. Can we really state that? That is why in Hindi there is a saying, Bhagwan ke yahan der hai par andher nahi. It may appear that it is delayed justice, but never injustice. Have that faith. And with that faith, repeat His name with all love. Even the Vedas have constantly insisted that this method is one of the best methods, especially in this Kali Yuga. Nama smaranat anyopayam nahi pasyamo bhavatarane Rama Hare Krishna Hare tava nama vadami sadandru Hare. Nama smaranat anya upayam na asti. So even if you get a small little tiny window of time, all that you have to do is keep repeating the name. Swamiji, it is so difficult. When you sneeze, what do you say? Excuse me. Excuse me. Even as they are sneezing, there is excuse me coming out there. Excuse me. and you by mistake hit somebody or say, sorry, I'm sorry, pardon me. Were you born with these words in your vocabulary? And there are such words that we use, oh my gosh, or and there are various such words that we keep repeating whenever something happens. If we can make a practice of these words, what is wrong in practicing saying Rama Krishna? Before saying excuse me, I say, and I sneeze, I first say Narayana and then say excuse me. There are so many pockets in life wherein Namasmarana can be continued. But let me re-insist. This Namasmarana is not in place of japa. Every single day there should be some time allotted for japa. Rain or shine, that particular time the mind should develop discipline that at that given moment of time it is only doing japa. Other than that, there are other add-on times, other pockets. Swamiji, I don't get time to do japa, but and I am cooking or when I am driving and when I am doing this, I still chant. Is it okay? It is okay, but it is not in lieu of the japa time. It has to be an added pocket of time onto the japa time. See, we wake up. How much time do we spend in that toilet and bathroom? And it's a solid chunk of time. How many teeth do you have? Don't need to answer me there. Like this wife told her husband, honey, brush my teeth also and bring them. Because they both had these dentures. So anyway, you are there in the bathroom, and the husband said, no, I am just using the toilet. Today it is your turn to brush the teeth. So they have turns. We are brushing. Each tooth that we brush, Ram, 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 Ram. 3 sides to every tooth. 32 times 3. Sita ho gaya ek mala. Almost, right? You're taking shower. Whatever, Shri Guru Charana Sarveshananda Mukur Sudari Bharana Raghuvar Vimala Jasa Choda Ayogopalachari Vishwam Vishnu Vashatkaro Bhuta Bhavya Bhat Prabhu Bhuta Sindhurarana Vigraham Trinam Manike Maulis Purat Taranayaka Shekaram Sanukim Apina Vakshoruham. I do the best. Namaste Astu Bhagavan Vishweswaraya Mahadevaya. Because my head is also turning to be a Shivalinga. Just stand there and do. By the time I am done with my Rudra, I am done with my entire. It doesn't take more than 5-6 minutes. Done. But you are constantly reminding yourself of that mantra japa. Mantra japa mama drida viswasa panchama beda so prakasa. Panchama bhajana so beda prakasha. This 5th path of bhakti is even illustrated by the Vedas. Now, we'll pause here. Your today's questions for your group discussions. Was it effective yesterday? Time was less? Individually. But the discussion is the churning point. Then everybody write. Too less? Okay. See, we can do away with the LSC if you need more time for discussion. So let's see how it will work out. So write down the questions. And again, everybody writes down what they are learning. Don't come back saying we have a group leader. If that was the pattern to be set, I would have already said that. Everybody takes effort to write. First question is, how do we inculcate the habit of singing the glories of the Lord? Part B to that question. What are the glories of the Lord? I have not covered this topic, but I have introduced it 2 times during the lecture. So if you are alert enough, you would get it. What are the glories of the Lord? Second, this is an exercise for everybody. And you have to discuss to come with, every group comes with one systematic process so that you understand that process comprehensively. Define different steps in japa. The second part, what are its benefits? There are 2 simple questions with 2 parts each. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. So, is there anybody new from yesterday's group? I don't think so. Join group 3. Okay, she is from group 2, so join group 2. You're continuing, right?